Welcome to the Wrestling Council. I'm your host, Comic Book Bob. Joining as always by my good friend Hollywood Frank. And yeah, what do you guys want to talk about?
What's up?
Welcome to the Wrestling Council. Welcome to the Wrestling Council. I am your host, Comic Book Bob. Joined as always by my good friend Hollywood Frank.
HW in the house.
Usually you catch us here every Tuesday. This week you're catching us at Wednesday because, real life sucks and gets in the way. But we is here. Catch us every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about all the news of wrestling. Follow us on social media below. It's also in the description as well. And weird week. Weird week for wrestling, man. A lot of interesting stories, but nothing like super groundbreaking. A couple of rumors and stuff that I saw that were interesting. Admittedly, there's been a lot going on. And I didn't watch as much wrestling this week as I normally do. Sorry.
Shame.
Dude, it's just like I said, man. Now that the weather's getting warmer, like we got gardening to do, and then we also have
lawn to mow,
personal family things that are happening right now. I got to take care of. But we'll talk about that before then. You do that. Let's check in real quick. Malacito's first. What's up, people? What's up, Malacito? Be careful driving, brother.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Hello.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
But yep. Time to get funky like a monkey, if you will. Thanks, Leg Kick. Appreciate you being here, man. Leg Kicks already jumping into Joe possibly taking the title from Mox. Bryan Danielson says his neck is jacked up. Dude, we all knew Bryan Danielson's neck was jacked up.
Yeah.
When he came back, I guess the doctors told him you can wrestle, but you probably shouldn't go like you used to. And he was just like, well, screw it. If I'm going, I'm going. So yeah, he's more than likely he might have one or two matches going down the line, but he's done as an in-ring. I think he's largely done as an in-ring performer, which is good which is interesting because there's been a lot of talk about what they want to do with him backstage. But before we get into that, let's see here. Mal playing a little fast and loose with the word every dude. I'm sorry, man. It's just we do it whenever we can, brother. Stupid return for Aleister Black. Yeah, it was kind of weak.
Yep.
There's a lot. Well, there's a lot of talk about WWE creative right now. Some good, some bad. TNA stupid shitting star spot. Yeah, that was. Oh God, what was that guy? Oh my God. Yeah, more news about Hogan and I'm looking at this thing with Hogan and Bischoff. We're starting an amateur. Oh my God, shut up, dude. But yeah, my understanding is that the TNA event, from what I understand, was really good. I didn't watch it, so I couldn't tell you. But other than that spot that scared the living crap out of people, although that spot, there's a lot of criticism coming out. Moose, I guess, sounded off about it and was pretty vocal about his opinion of people being upset at that angle. Let me see if I can pull this up here. But a lot of people, actually, there's a lot of friggin' a lot of drama coming out of TNA right now. A lot of people are upset at the way Joe Henry was handled at WrestleMania. I'm trying to see Hendry. I'm trying to find it here, but anywho, yeah, like apparently Joe Henry's like, I don't know why everybody's so upset. I'm like, well, dude, they're upset because they like you and they feel like you got buried, but you know,
Yep.
it is what it is. But yeah, I can't find it anyway. But Black's return seemed more like a dud than yeah, it was pretty bad. You guys doing okay, Bond Frank? Yeah, man. It's just, you know, life likes to throw roadblocks in your way. So the Shatter Machine looked good. I agree, Mal. Black should be put right in the competition with the title, either Cena's or Jay's. Zack Sabre versus Dynamite Kid. Oh yeah, that was good. I saw a little bit of that. Is this going to turn into a Dynamite watch party? I mean, it could. Because they made you look like a geek. Yeah, it was. I mean, look, it's WrestleMania, dude. They're not going to. And Randy's probably going to be the guy. Randy's definitely the first person that's challenging John, so they're not going to have him lose. The Rock playing Mark Hurt. Yeah, dude, I saw the trailer. It looks interesting. That's definitely the Rock trying to push for his Oscar. But all right, but before we get into that, let's go ahead and get into our favorite segment, a little something we call. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I will be starting it off this week. The good. Bryan Danielson is being courted for a backstage role in AEW. He says it's where he needs to be. So what we were just talking about, obviously, Bryan Danielson, one of the best technical wrestlers ever. Went to AEW, immediately became a favorite with Tony Khan. To the point where Tony Khan said if anything ever happened to him, that Bryan Danielson should be the one to take over and run the show.
Okay.
Run the company, actually, that's a big deal. Hey, Boogie, what's up, brother?
Yeah, Boogie should be joining us.
Appreciate you being here, man. Dude, Boogie's big, man. Boogie's got so much stuff on his plate. It's ridiculous.
He does.
Over on the Talking Vols network. Go check out the OG of the TWC, man. Appreciate you being here, brother. Can't The Rock just buy one like the rest of Hollywood? I kind of think that's what he's doing with this, man. I'll admit though, it looks kind of interesting. But
hello,
yeah.
Mr. Adam.
Hey, what's
Thanks
up,
for
Adam?
joining us, man.
Boogie making a surprise appearance.
Boogie.
Yeah, send a Boogie Elite, dude. I invite the guys on all the time, man. But yeah, sure, screw it.
You're good.
Yeah, sorry.
Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, sorry, man. I got sidetracked. Would I love for him to come back and wrestle in the ring? Absolutely. Like I said, he's one of the best technical wrestlers that's ever lived. And just the matches that he's had, and that's basically why he went to AEW. He wanted to have, before he couldn't, he wanted to have those banger matches that he's been wanting to have his whole career. Those matches he had with Omega, those matches he had with Okada, those matches that he had with Zack Sabre Jr. But he knew his time was short in the ring, and now he's looking to transition into something in the behind the scenes. And given the situation that Tony Khan is in, and the crossroads that AEW is finding themselves at, because they finally got the money to make the program the way they want it to be, to do all the things that they want to do. They've got the money now. Now they got to put the right creative in place. And it's been, and like we said, when Cody left, they lost the heart and soul of AEW. I don't care what anybody wants to say, they lost the heart and soul of AEW. Bryan Danielson can be that new soul, that new heart and soul. So what Tony Khan needs to do is he needs to put Bryan Danielson into that same role that Cody filled. if he wants to get AEW back to what they were before and to build them for the future. He needs to lean on guys like Bryan Danielson. So I'm excited for this. I like I said, would I like to see him wrestle again? Of course I would. But I'm actually more excited about what he can bring to the future of that company than anything. Boogie said, I barely make it through AEW. I just finished Mania today. Yeah, it's like, look, AEW still has amazing talent. They've got some storytelling problems. They've got, like I said, with the women's division, they've got the best character in women's wrestling, period, in Toni Storm. They've got some of the most athletic and best in-ring performers that there are. It's everywhere else that they need to shore things up. So it's interesting to see who's getting into the indies from WWE and Hammerstone back to MLW. Yeah, and honestly, if I always said that I thought Alexander Hammerstone was tailor-made for WWE, but he's a big fish in MLW, and that's where he seems to thrive. So, and I'm glad he's back from his injury because his injury is pretty bad. That's my good. My bad. More injuries. The RVD RVD's injury is really bad. They're saying this might be it for him. I can't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head because my brain's decided to betray me. But my understanding is that this injury might be the end for him. It's that bad. Additional injuries though, Bianca Belair, she's out. She's got several broken fingers on one of her hands. And Rey Mysterio is out. He had to have surgery, torn abductor, which is why he wasn't at WrestleMania. Apparently he tried to stick it out, and he was trying to stick it out and push through at WrestleMania, but, couldn't do it. So injuries are never good. Yeah, double heel fracture. Yeah, that's what it was. So, but yeah, it was, from what I understand, it was like a really ugly injury with RVD. But yeah, injuries are never good. Speedy recovery to all of them. Hopefully they get back and it doesn't affect them too much. And the ugly, man, I was looking into this. This thing just gets worse and worse and worse. 3 new plaintiffs joined the Ring Boy scandal in WWE. I don't know how much you guys have been following that story, man. The more that comes out about that stuff, the worse it gets. And if you ever had any preconceptions about what kind of person Vince McMahon was, the more that's coming out about that situation, Vince McMahon only cared about WWE. He only cared about the business. He doesn't care about anybody else. He cares about himself. He cares about that company, and that's it. And he was willing to sacrifice and let anybody get chewed up. So just real quick. So 3 new plaintiffs joined the Ring Boys. Can actually, I'll share this so we can look at it together. Real quick. You know what? Let's save this. I'll go ahead and finish up my my GBU. Frank, you do your GBU, and then we'll take a look at it in depth.
Okay.
So that's my GBU. Frank, what you got?
My good. Actually, a really good TLC match on SmackDown with the Street Profits versus DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns.
It was all right.
Actually saw a decent tag match.
Decent tag match
on WWE.
Something must be wrong, man. Somebody must have put something in the water.
A lot of high spots. Actually thought it was pretty good. The fans were really into it. But, it shows you what those guys can do. I mean, you shouldn't have to have a match like that to showcase them, but it's nice that you got 3 of the best three actually real tag teams, not guys thrown together. Highlighting what they can do. Not like you're throwing Miz and R-Truth together.
Oh God! Well, for the 15th time,
or now the Miz and Carmelo Hayes.
Dude, like I said, I got a lot of I actually have a lot of respect for Miz. That guy he's that guy. Whatever the company wants him to do, that's what he does. You know what I mean? And he's serviceable. He's serviceable enough as an in-ring performer that if you need him to job to someone and get someone over, he's your guy. But my God, any storyline or anybody they connect him to immediately dies. You know, like them having him feud with Aleister Black, with Black coming back. That is the worst freaking idea in the history of ideas, man. That's the Miz mid-card vortex right there, buddy.
Yep. My bad. People might like it. I could care less. Jey Uso's first challenger is Logan Paul. Logan Paul.
Yeah, there's some rumblings about that whole situation too. That I have a hard time believing that this is the plan. But then again, after what we saw at WrestleMania, who knows? But we'll get into that. We'll get into that as well. Yeah,
Logan Paul,
dude. I would not be surprised if within the next year or two he's a world champion. Logan Paul is the new Miz. He's just more athletic.
He is. Hey, he's Cleveland's own, just like the Miz. All right, Cleveland's own.
Shut the hell up, man.
Hey, speaking of Cleveland, Maldacito, the first show from Bischoff and Hogan's new promotion is going to be in Cleveland on August 30th. We should go. We should go, Bob. We should go.
Dude, oh my God.
The first.
You know what? It might be worth it just to see what kind of a train wreck it's going to be. Because I have a hard time believing they're going to be able to get their hands on any real good talent.
Saturday, August 30th. What do you think, Wrestling Council?
We'll go do live report from it.
Do you think Bob and I should go to the first one?
What are they going to call this thing?
Who knows? Who knows? And my ugly. It's not really ugly, but can we move on with the lame MJF? Oh my God, Hurt Syndicate thing.
Oh yeah, they're really. You know what it feels like? You know what it feels like to me? It feels like they're trying to set up. They know that everybody wants to see Bobby Lashley in singles competition. They know that they want to see him, go for a singles title or the world title or something like that. It's like Tony Khan, but they're big, but he's a big guy, and Tony just can't book big men to save his life.
Nope.
And right now, it just feels like they're just kind of spinning their wheels with them. And because also, I know that in I think like 2 weeks, Cedric Alexander's contract is up. And his 90-day no compete is up. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to have him come in because everybody's cheering them as right now.
Yeah.
Even though I still say they work better as heels, just because people are cheering somebody doesn't mean they want to see them turn face. Okay, take what happened with Gunther as an example. They're cheering them because they're entertained. All right. By what they're doing now. You don't got to turn everybody face just because people are cheering. But I get the feeling that that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to turn the Hurt Syndicate face.
Well, hey, people were cheering John Cena at WrestleMania. They're not turning him face.
No, I'm talking about AEW.
Right.
But anyway, all right. Yep, we hurt people. Yeah, no, the booking, MJS booking since he came back has not been good. It hasn't been great.
No, that's not.
But all right, so let's go ahead and get into the
potatoes.
the Ring Boy thing here. So Mal, I'm not letting off their inner circle just saying it's Vince, but Vince is the ringleader of the whole thing. It all revolves around him. Ultimately, the decision and how to handle everything, it all revolves around him. And he's also the one that empowered these people to do this shit. So, but no, you're right. There's a lot of people, and there's like, I think there's close to a dozen people that are named in this lawsuit. Let's go ahead and take a look at this though. But yeah, there's plenty of blame to go around, man. So yeah, 3 new plaintiffs joined Ring Boy scandal lawsuit against WWE and the McMahons. Post Wrestling reported on Monday that the former Ring Boys filed the suit against WWE, TKO, and Vince and Linda McMahon have provided further details regarding the defendant's alleged failure to report sexual abuse. The filing includes allegations from 3 additional plaintiffs that allegedly abuse not only from former ring announcer and road crew member Mel Phillips, but also from longtime W official Pat Patterson and former WWE wrestler Coco Beware. Oh, that's a new one. Because I knew about Mel Phillips, I knew about Pat Patterson, and then there was his name? Was it one of the Garvins? I can't remember his name now.
Yeah.
I didn't know this about Coco Beware. John Doe 6, a Mississippi resident, alleges that he met Phillips around 1988 when he was 11 or 12. After a house show on July 14th, 1989 in Baltimore, he was told that he needed to stay in Patterson's hotel room while the other boys stayed in Phillips's room. It was there that Doe 6 alleges he was given alcohol as oh, jeez. Did inappropriate things. He also said he inappropriate things by Phillips after a July 21st, 1992 event in Portland. This is when Phillips reportedly exited from WWE in March of 1992. In a separate incident that took place in Maine, Doe 6 alleged Ware pushed his head against the wall. Oh my God. And also the other witnesses present, including Phillips, Patterson, Tommy Chimmel, and referee Danny Davis, with only Chimmel telling Ware to let go. Ware did not immediately respond to Post Wrestling for comment. Joe 7 says it was around 14 years. Yeah, anyway, I'm not going to go into the details of it because this is disgusting. But Doe 7 said there was an incident with him and Phillips. Doe 8 said there was an incident with him and Phillips, and where he was offered cocaine. Jesus God, man. Linda McMahon filed a motion earlier this month to dismiss the lawsuit, saying she has no significant connection to the state, and never communicated with the then 5 individuals who originally filed the lawsuit. She also sought to distance herself from Phillips, saying she never personally supervised him while he was employed in WWE. In the amended suit, the Ring Boys outlined times when they interacted with or were in the presence of Vince and Linda McMahon. Look, I know there's a lot of people that like Linda McMahon. And she, because she's part of Trump's cabinet, what have you. If she was aware of this, she needs to go down just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. You don't do this to kids. So this all together, so with the original 5, this makes 8. This makes 8 people. This is disgusting. And like I said, got to be careful what we say here because liability is liability. But you don't get 8 different people, 8 different kids. And there was, one of them, I think one of the original 5 is the guy that eventually committed suicide, if I'm not mistaken. I think the person that's running it is his brother. But if that's a separate incident from this, and then you're talking 9. How many more of them were there? That's and I know for a fact that part of the thing is that Vince, in an attempt to kind of cover this thing up, let these guys go, and then immediately hired them back a few months later, and did something like that off and on over the course of the years. So this is going to be ugly. And I know that TKO, as an entity, they weren't around when this happened, but you buy the company, man, and there are still people working there that were part of this situation. So it's hard. I mean, and like I said, I need to educate myself on this more. Like I said, I've been reading the case file lately. It's hard for me to do, but my personal opinion on this is that this is not fake. This is not people trying to go for money. This is real. And it's something that's been that Vince has used every ounce of power and influence that he has had to keep this thing from coming to light. And now that he's gone and that incentive is no longer quite there, this is coming out. This is gonna I don't know how much this is gonna hurt WWE, but honestly, I don't care.
Right.
This needs to happen. And these people, all of them, if they every one of these people that's involved in this need to pay the price for this. I don't care how old they are now, because I know one of the arguments that somebody made was that they're all like all these guys are now older. They're like old men. I don't care. Okay, I don't care if they're 90. Stick them in friggin' jail. You don't do this to kids. But yeah, this is another one of those things where like the more you look into it, the more you read, the worse it gets. But that's where that's at right now. Like I said, that's why it was my ugly. Yeah, clean house. Yeah, I agree, Mal. Clean house, time to get rid of any McMahon influence in the business and then rebuild no bueno. Yeah, I agree. And I from what I understand, the Janelle Hill, the Janelle Grant lawsuit apparently is not going well for her, because it's looking like they've already had some of the things that were brought against. I know that the Brock Lesnar has been cleared and dropped because they just didn't have enough evidence. So, but this, honestly, I don't know if the Janelle Hill thing is real, because a lot of it does sound like a jilted girlfriend. Still doesn't mean Vince wasn't a good guy in the whole situation. And we know that even if her case isn't legit, there's dozens of other incidents that happened that need to be addressed, and more situations that we know are true. Yeah, but this thing, man, whatever state that this thing gets tried in, whatever judge gets behind there, throw the frickin' book at him. Hit him with it. Hit him with the friggin' sledgehammer on this. You don't do this shit to kids.
Nope.
But yeah, and it's hard as I mean, and I don't like talking about stories like that because that kind of stuff is hard to face and hard to look at. But it's real. There are people that take advantage of power, and issues of sexism and racism. Whether you like, I know like people like to throw those buzzwords around, but WWE has a history of this stuff, and a lot of it centers around Vince McMahon. So we'll see what happens going forward with all that. Another story that happened over the last week or so, Steve Mongo McMichaels, formerly the Chicago Bears and also of the Four Horsemen in WCW, has passed away from ALS. He was 67, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah. After he's been, I think he was diagnosed with ALS in 2001. I think it was what it was. Yeah, in 2021, he announced he'd been diagnosed with ALS, and unfortunately, he suffered a lot over the next 4 years. But he's gone on. Thoughts and prayers to his family and his wife. And something like a situation like that's never good, man. We're all eventually going there, but sometimes the road there is a lot rougher. But
yeah, ALS is rough.
ALS is awful, man.
No cure.
Oh, dude, yeah, God, dude, he was he played for the Bears. He was a 5-time All-Pro. Super Bowl in 1985.
Yep. 85 Bears, world champions.
That considered by a lot of people to be one of the greatest teams of all time. Played for Chicago for over a decade. I think his final season he played for a different team though. Was it Green Bay?
It could have been.
I don't remember.
I don't know. The guys move around sometimes a lot.
He joined WCW, I think, in 1995, and he was there for. I think he retired in 2000, 99 or 2000. And then 2 years later, he announced the ALS. So, but thoughts and prayers, like I said, thoughts and prayers to his family. RIP to Steve Mungo McMichaels. There's a lot of people that did tributes to him over social media. Ric Flair was one of them. Mungo was part of the Four Horsemen. Not particularly my favorite version of the Horsemen, but it was the last. It was the last version. So, but RIP to him. All right. Jeez. Do we want to talk about this friggin' Hogan Eric Bischoff thing?
Sure.
Oh, there is a name for it. It does have a name. Real American Freestyle Wrestling. All right. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff announced Real American Freestyle Wrestling. Earlier this week, the pair teased a new project in what's up?
Real American Freestyle Wrestling League.
Wrestling League? Okay. Teased a new project and a mysterious third man who would be involved. On Wednesday, they announced the Real American Freestyle Wrestling League, a professional freestyle wrestling league set to launch this summer. They also revealed world-renowned wrestling coach Izzy Martinez as their mystery third man. I don't know who Izzy Martinez is. Let me see here.
He's a freestyle wrestling coach. Worked in UFC.
Okay.
John Jones and Holly Holm.
Oh, yeah. Israel Martinez. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Wow. That's interesting. Huh. Hogan said his inspiration for launching the league came from watching Wyatt Hendrickson defeat Gable Stevenson to win the NCAA National Heavyweight title in March and then celebrate with the U.S. president. When I saw this happen, I saw our President Hogan, I went, okay, we are on point. We're ready to go. And instinct have prevailed, and I smell victory. I think we're on the right track. What the hell does that even mean? Neither Stevenson nor Hendrickson are currently signed to the new league, although Hogan teased a possible rematch between the two as something the company has on its radar. These kids are young and smart. They're watching TV. They know branding, and they know. So basically, Oh, Olympic silver medalist Kennedy Blades has committed to the league. Hogan says she will be the face of the women's division. Ben Askren and Zahid Valencia will compete on the men's side. Ben Askren. Dude, I thought he was done.
Apparently not.
Holy shit. Dude, I thought he was done after Jake Paul knocked his ass out. Hogan says Bischoff is setting up the league from a production standpoint. So, all right. Well, this will be interesting to see what comes of it. Martinez is a well-known freestyle wrestling and MMA coach and founder of the Izzy Style Wrestling Training Program in Illinois. He helped train John Jones for UFC fights and was Holly Holm's wrestling coach for a victory over Ronda Rousey. Martinez will serve as league's chief operating officer. Hogan would be the league's commissioner. So this is going to be legit. This is going to be legit graps. But are they going to try to turn it into kind of like a sports entertainment edge to it as well? Because it's Hogan. It's Hogan, dude.
Who knows?
Can you imagine if they create a freestyle league where they still do all the pro wrestling stuff, like the pro wrestling promos, but then the match is real. So you can have some guy that they're setting up to be the big face and everything, gets there and he gets murdered. just gets friggin' wrecked. But strange. That's very strange. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Who knows? Like I said, the first show is in Cleveland, August 30th.
We might actually have to go check this out now that I'm reading this. My God.
Meet Hulk Hogan, brother.
Oh my God. Well, I think Eric described it best when he said, if you think of the voice, you do the backstories first so that people care about the athletes and you see where they started and the injuries and the type of family and the history back. I think that sort of sets people up to care for athletes, like Eric said. And that's where we're going to begin with the people warming up and getting to know the athletes. And then it's up to the athletes to perform. Okay. So it sounds like what they're going to do. So it sounds like what they're going to do is they're going to do like vignettes and stuff about them before the matches and everything. And then the matches are going to happen. And they're going to hopefully, I don't know, man, like try to turn this into like some kind of competition for the UFC or something.
Who knows? That's
weird. I don't know how well it's going to do if you don't have people punching each other in the face on top of it. That's kind of what set UFC apart, man. Is like it's graps and it's striking.
Right.
So that's it. This is either gonna be extremely entertaining or it's gonna be extremely pathetic.
Right. On those, we need to try to get ringside seats.
Dude, did you see what AEW has been doing lately? They've been like announcing cheaper prices for their seats and stuff. Well, yeah, and it's granted, when you get down to the last couple of days of a show, if you're trying to finish filling out that's not something that they haven't been doing for a long time. That's something they always do. The closer you get to the show, the cheaper the seats get.
Yeah.
But now they're actually announcing it, which is probably a good idea. But yeah, like the last Dynamite they did it. I mean, the last Collision they did, they announced they had seats that's cheap as $20. So shit, dude, $20. I'll go friggin' see a show. I'll sit in the nosebleeds for $20. But all right, anything else going on that you guys want to talk about, guys? Because like I said, it's been a really weird week, man. Honestly, I barely watched Dynamite. I watched like bits and pieces of it, which actually just started.
Yep. Yeah, about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so tired after everything that happened.
Yeah, you know what?
Was it? So is it so it's tonight? Oh yeah, tonight's the 8-man tag.
Yes.
Yeah, first time that Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada will be facing off since their last match at the Tokyo Dome. Obviously, they're setting that up.
I was happy to see Julia on the main roster now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, in
'Cause
WWE?
Yeah, because I said early this year in our predictions for the year that she would be world champion by the end of the year, if I remember our episode correctly.
I don't know if she's going to be the world champion by the end of the year, but she's there. She's where she needs to be.
She's there, and it's just turning into May, so she's got 7 months. So it's definitely possible.
We got tonight. We also have the Owen Hart tournament semifinals. Hangman versus Kyle Fletcher. That would be a good match.
Yeah, no offense. Mercedes does not need to be in this. It should be used to elevate somebody else.
Nope. Yeah, Tony Storm faces Mayu Yamashita.
Oh.
And so Hurt Syndicate and MJF, dude, they need to pull trigger on that shit and be done with it.
Do you think Mariah May is going to the E?
Yep. I think she's 100% going to the E. I think she used AEW to increase her presence and get the attention of WWE. And I think honestly, I think that was the plan all along. Which, okay, fine. They got what they wanted out of her. So what's the problem with that? You know, that's what a lot of people do. And let's face it, man. For most pro wrestlers, you know, that WWE run is what is their dream. So
yeah, and it doesn't always work out because you look at this. AEW took Toni Storm, who wasn't getting anywhere in WWE, and made her a much bigger star.
Oh yeah, dude.
Than WWE ever could have.
She is hands down the best female character in professional wrestling today. Like I know. I mean, she's not the most popular.
No,
I would say that's Rhea Ripley. But we need to talk just purely about like characters. She's 100% the best character in women's wrestling today.
And AEW pretty much giving her free reign to do what she wants to with her character, which wasn't going to happen in WWE.
No. And to be honest, not everybody should be given free reign like that.
No, you are correct.
You look at what happened in AEW when they let people have free reign sometimes it just wasn't work. Same thing in, no one in WWE, to my understanding, has ever had absolute complete free reign to do whatever they want. There's quite a few of them that have had free reign in AEW, and more than a few times it's crashed and burned.
Yeah, and great Rusev and Black are back in WWE. Fine. The hype is there to start. I just can't see it sustaining. I think it's going to be SSDD with those guys. Same shit, different day. That once the newness wears off, they're going to be back to being mid-carders.
Oh, yeah. And that's already happening, dude. Look, they're putting Black with The Miz. Okay? Black is not some call-up from NXT. Okay? He's been to the main roster. He was a big deal. He was a big deal in NXT. He got called to the main roster, and he died on the main roster.
Yep.
He left. He went to AEW. He was hot for a minute. Then Tony completely dropped the ball with them and the House of Black. As popular as the House of Black was, they never did anything with them.
Right.
So then he goes back to WWE, thinking, and everybody's thinking that, they're finally going to give Black his due. And his first feud is with The Miz.
Yeah.
And Miro, I think, is set for a freaking speed match or something.
Yeah. The benefit for Black is he's on SmackDown, so he can be there with his wife.
Yep. And I think that was a big part of the motivation. He wanted to be with his wife, and I can understand that. If you're not really doing anything in AEW, you're not getting pushed in AEW, go back to, but you're apart from your family, go back to WWE, get paid just as well, if not more, in WWE as you were making in AEW. So monetarily speaking, he probably didn't take much of a hit, if any at all. And you can be with your wife, you can be with your family, and you're just doing the same thing you were doing before. So why not? Why wouldn't you?
And his wife has a women's title belt right now, so she's gonna be making some money.
Yeah, and that was another big controversy that came out because apparently Chelsea Green is not happy with the way that whole situation was booked. She hasn't been happy with the way she's been booked. No. And to be fair, I think she has a legitimate gripe.
Yep.
They made such a big deal out of creating those mid-card titles for women, and then they did absolutely fuck all with them. They weren't they weren't at WrestleMania. When they have booked them, they booked them fairly weak. Chelsea Green as a character is really over in WWE.
Yes.
She's really over. So why take the belt off of her now? You want that belt to mean something. You want that title. You want to put some emphasis on that title. You've got the belt on a very popular person. Why aren't you booking that person better and putting some respect onto that belt? Instead, you take it off of her. You put it on Zelina Vega. And here's the thing. I like Zelina Vega. She's ice cold. Zelina Vega has no heat right now.
No.
So you took the belt off of one of your most popular wrestlers. Somebody that you could be pushing and making into a little bit of a big deal, putting some respect and emphasis on your belt, and you take it off of her and you put it on somebody that has none. Okay. Now, admittedly, not really her fault. It's just the way she's been booked. But she doesn't have much of an R right now. She's not really you haven't done anything with her. Why are you taking that belt off her?
And hopefully they do something with the program that Lyra has with Becky Lynch with the Intercontinental Women's title.
Yeah.
They don't need to put the title on Becky Lynch, but hopefully she can help elevate Lyra a little bit more than she has been.
Yeah. So, and one of the things that, like I said, WWE's creative has come under fire in the last 4 or 5 months. Ever since the Royal Rumble and the build to WrestleMania was kind of mid, their creative has come under fire a little bit. And then, of course, there were decisions made on at WrestleMania that didn't make a whole lot of sense, that people were upset with. And Triple H, being the chief creative officer, he's the one who kind of took everything on the chin. And did you watch that interview that The Rock did on Pat McAfee?
Bits and pieces of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
I don't think he intended to do this, but he did kind of throw Triple H under the bus.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the intention. I know some people say, yeah, well, no, I really don't. I just think that the way Rock put it forward there, he just basically said that the decision wasn't his, that creatively, apparently Cena's heel turn wasn't supposed to happen at the Elimination Chamber. Originally, it was going to happen at WrestleMania. I don't know if that would have really made a difference. I mean, it definitely would have made a difference in the way people were viewing that match at WrestleMania.
Yes.
But I don't know if it would have had much of a difference in the long term. But it's one of those things where it's confusing as to, like, you know, who's responsible for these decisions. Some of the decisions that they're making don't seem to make a lot of sense, but a lot of it, from what I understand, isn't really coming from Hunter. It's coming, like, they actually, like the whole thing with Becky Lynch. They did that. They basically asked her what she wanted to do, and this is what she wanted to do.
I honestly think if they'd have done the heel turn at WrestleMania, I think Cena would have gotten a bigger cheer than he did at
Then he did an elimination chamber.
No, he got it. He got some cheers at WrestleMania against Cody. I think he would have gotten an even bigger pop, even turning heel
at WrestleMania
on Cody at WrestleMania. Yeah,
it probably would have been a bigger moment. I just don't know if long term it would have been much of a change or a difference.
Because I just think people are done with Cody being champion for right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be fair, we all pretty much expected that Cody would hold the belt for a year, and then he would drop it to somebody. Well, I think the original we thought he was originally going to drop it to The Rock.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania, but then Cena said that this was his last year. They had the big Cena run, and then it became pretty clear that Cena was going to take the belt off of Cody at WrestleMania. Didn't expect the heel turn until The Rock and that's the question. Was it The Rock who insinuated himself into this thing, or did Hunter and Creative push for it? Because the way The Rock was talking on that interview, he wasn't originally supposed to do this. He wasn't like he was supposed to make an appearance, but it was going to be at WrestleMania, and it wasn't around this whole situation. But then there's other sources saying that this whole thing was The Rock's idea. So I'm wondering if, and then there's other reports saying that there's a big creative fight backstage between The Rock and his guy and Hunter. So it's one of those things where it's 6 one way, half a dozen another. Who do you believe? And right now, it just feels like WWE's creativity is starting to run into some friggin' chaos. One thing I can't remember, was it on Busted Open? It was either on Busted Open or it was on Chris Van Vliet, where someone he was talking to said that the way creative way Hunter's doing creative is they're not, storylines are taking a backseat to moments. And because storylines are taking a backseat to moments, a lot of these runs and these storylines, they're not going to have legs, because if you look at the best storylines and the best, they have great storylines, and they also have moments. But if all you're doing is creating moments, you're not creating storyline, eventually it's going to peter out. And an example of that would be the Wyatt Six.
Yep.
Now, we said, without some kind of storyline behind them, without something, with real meat to it, that gimmick is going to die. And it was going to, and I gave it, I think I gave it 6 months before it would be tired. That's exactly what happened. A lot of people are pointing to Jey Uso and saying the same thing. And they're pointing to the Gunther storyline and saying that the Gunther storyline was weak, but they're pushing on this Jey Uso's popularity right now, and that big moment from WrestleMania, and that's the motivation for them to push him. But the thing is the whole Yeet thing, the whole Yeet movement thing, without some kind of real character build or anything behind it, those kind of gimmicks die, and they die fast. And like I said, I gave that whole thing a year. If they don't start doing something else, if they don't move away from the whole Yeet thing and actually put some meat on the bone, he's not going to be. And they're already saying that some people are starting to think that maybe he was only meant to be a transitional champion.
Possible.
And that he's going to drop the belt to Seth. Now, I have a hard time believing that's going to happen this quickly. Because Jey is really, really over right now.
Yep.
So I have a hard time believing they're going to take the belt off of him that quickly. But I wouldn't be surprised if within the next 3 or 4 months, he drops that belt to Seth. Because like I said, people are already starting to get tired of the Yeet thing. And one of the biggest criticisms coming out of WrestleMania was the way that they booked the whole Gunther storyline. the way they booked Gunther, period, wasn't good because, like I said, just because people are cheering for you doesn't mean that you need to turn somebody face. If they tried to turn Gunther into a tweener, that was a mistake.
Nope.
It was a huge mistake. But I have, like I said, the big thing that I've been hearing is that there's a lot of people that are frustrated with WWE creatively, behind the scenes and as fans. Chelsea is one of them. She didn't understand why they took the belt off of her so fast. She said she didn't understand why there were so few. Why and again, they put all this emphasis into creating these women's mid-card belts, and not one of them was defended at WrestleMania on 2 nights.
Yeah.
You know, you could have had something in there. So, but remains to be seen. Personally, I think they really need to start focusing a little bit better on doing some more storytelling and maybe, not relying on these moments to be the driving factor of everything. But we shall see. Jey Uso versus Logan Paul, dude. And people are thinking that they're going to take the belt off of him, put it on Logan Paul. I have a hard time believing that they're going to do that. Not this quickly.
No.
But I would not be shocked to see them put a world title on that guy within the next year or two. I wouldn't be shocked. Because love him or hate him, he's bringing eyes.
Yeah, I can possibly see that happening.
Like I don't see it being the undisputed belt, but I could definitely see them putting a world title on him.
Yeah, I could also see them putting him in a tag team and putting the tag belts on him because he had was it Intercontinental or the U.S. title he had?
He had the U.S. title. I could see that. I know that his brother is looking to come into WWE, which Jesus, dude, you think Logan's bad? Just wait until Jake gets in there. People don't like Logan Paul. They really hate Jake.
Yeah.
So, and I agree, leg kick. I think Ludwig Kaiser's. Here's the thing about WWE: they are stacked with talent. They are at both AEW and WWE are both just riddled with talent. They've got guys that could if they push them the right way, they could legitimately be world title contenders. You just got to build a storyline. Look how popular Chad Gable was a year ago. Just because they did those backstage vignettes and you let that guy be who he is. Chad Gable right now should be the next Kurt Angle. Chad Gable should have been the next Bryan Danielson. His technical wrestling ability is so freaking good. And instead, you got him doing gimmick shit as a fake luchador.
That's not Chad Gable.
Shut the fuck up. But Ludwig Kaiser is another one of those guys that's so good at what he does. They'll never push him out of the mid card because he doesn't quite fit that mold that WWE has created. So, but anyway, guys, that's about it for us. Like I said, this was kind of a weird week. We just wanted to kind of come out here and just talk about whatever we felt like talking about, whatever you guys felt like talking about. But it'll be interesting to see where some of this stuff goes going forward. I don't think
that jealousy thing is already going to come to a head with Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, I don't know that you need to do that with two different groups. But yeah, that situation with Jacob and Solo, and legitimately, man, Jacob should just kill Solo.
He should.
Jacob Fatu is just so freaking good, man. He's so freaking good. And he's got that it factor too, man. That's a guy that when they do finally get one of these world titles back on a face, that's the dude that needs to be put into the rotation in that storyline. And eventually they need to put one of the world titles on that guy. Because he's so freaking good. Solo and Fatu are kind of different. Well, you've got the family situation going, so it's maybe it's less of a jealousy thing and it's more of a legacy thing. So you might be able to pull it off. I just don't know. Whenever you have two storylines that are really similar to each other, one almost always suffers over the other. So I just don't know that it's a good idea to do two storylines like that at the same time. But we'll see. I mean, I've never worked in the industry. I could be completely wrong. But anyway, guys, appreciate you all being here, guys. Leg Kick, Cleveland Sports, Malicito, Boogie, thanks for stopping by, brother. I know you're busy as hell. And everybody else that was lurking and watching, everybody else that watches this later. Like I said, this was a weird week. So
yeah, we'll be back next Tuesday.
Yep, we will be back next Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. And you guys have a good day. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.